than the quality of our resources. We were much better equipped for Christopher at Vanity Fair than at Spy. So over the last 18 years, we've had a remarkable a professional relationship and personal relationship. I'll tell you, as a colleague, he is a wonderful colleague. He is fearless. He is brave. We've sent him to every war-torn country you can imagine. He's been to all of President Bush's axis of evil countries. He's interviewed everybody. He was up for anything. Those of you who follow him closely will know that a few years ago, at a suggestion of Tom Headley, who was one of the old editors at Esquire in the 1960s, he said, "Why don't you send Christopher on a mission to discover the limits of self-improvement?" And so over 2 or 3 columns, Christopher, we sent him to professional haberdashers and professional dentists, and he had manicures and professional haircuts. And he came into the office, and we were having a little meeting, and he said, "Well, what's next?" And I said, "Well, there's one more thing I think you should do." And I said, "It involves waxing." And he said, "What do you mean waxing?" I said, "Well," I sort of tried to explain to him what it was. And I said, "There's a procedure that I just heard about, but I think you should try it. And it's called the back, the sack, and the crack." I swear, the color slightly drained from his face as he sort of tried to contemplate what this actually meant, because I'd only figured it out a little while before. But he looked up and he said, "In for a penny, in for a pound." And he did it. Years ago, we were having dinner at the 21 Club, back in the days you could still smoke there, and with our London editor, Henry Porter. And it was this very special night because right at the very next table were Don Rickles and Frank Sinatra. But Christopher had showed up at the restaurant without a tie, and so the restaurant gave him one of their loaners, and it was a huge wide thing left over from the 1970s, black with sort of white lettering on it. And so we wore it through dinner, and we stumbled out of there about 2:30 in the morning. About 2.5, 3 weeks later, I was at home editing manuscripts in our kitchen, and the TV was on in the background. And Crossfire was still on TV in those days, on CNN. And Christopher, I could hear the TV buzzing away, and Christopher was the representative from the left. Again, in those days, he was still on the left. And and I started listening to it, and then all of a sudden he said something that made me look up at the television. And I look up, and there's Christopher with the same tie from the 21 Club. I was very disappointed he didn't have it tonight to show you. But again, so I have the great honor to introduce 2 incredible gentlemen, Christopher Hitchens and Salman Rushdie, as I say, men who need no introduction. Thank you.
All right, well, just to make sure there isn't an excess of introductions, I'm going to keep it quite brief. I mean, I think the thing that's, if you've known Christopher for a while, you have this fear when you read a thing called a memoir that you're going to know all of it. And there are going to be these sort of like polished anecdotes coming out in the familiar sentences, which might be fun for you, but less fun for me. And one of the things I think that was actually touching about reading the book was how much there was in it about Christopher that I didn't know, and how much more there was about the things that I did know. So I think it is, even for those of us who've known each other too long, it's a really remarkable book because it's intimate, but it's also public. It's a book which is about literature and about friendship and about coming to America, and of course about politics and this big and strange life which ranges from bikini waxes to trashing Mother Teresa via Henry Kissinger and various presidents. One of the things that I just thought to start off with, it struck me when I was reading it how eclectic you have been in your dislikes. That you disliked Reagan, you say, but you really disliked Clinton.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.